Domenic Mandato, how are you, my man?
Hey, JG. Great. Good to see you. Hope you had a good summer.
Oh, it was a fantastic summer. It's fantastic. It was busy, very, very busy. Lots of deals. I think we did. I think we bought four new No, we sold four properties and bought another three properties. So it's very, very, very busy right now. What about you, man? How was your summer?
It's funny you mentioned that because for me, a busy summer is a good summer for me. I like to relax. I like to enjoy, time on the beach and time with the family. But, if I can keep it going, because generally that's a slow time of the year for us, but we had a tremendous summer. We've got two deals under contract. We're likely going to close on about four of them before the end of the year. So we're pretty excited about where things are going.
Wow, that's fantastic. So for everyone listening, welcome and thank you for tuning in. I want to just take a second. Domenic Mandato is the CEO of InvestPlus. Domenic, I'll have you introduce InvestPlus in a second, but as one of the main keynote speakers at ACRE, the Real Estate Investor Summit that's happening in Edmonton, September 27th through 29th with folks, if you're tuning into this and you don't have your tickets yet, you're running out of time. Tickets are going like hotcakes right now. It's going to be an awesome event. It's going to be really a life-changing event for a lot of people. So Domenic's one of the main guys. You're going to see Domenic throughout the entire weekend on various panels and various breakout sessions. So to better understand what Domenic's going to talk about, and we're going to talk about this today, we're going to dig into multifamily, we're going to dig into industrial, we're going to dig into negotiations. But Domenic, give us a quick 30-second introduction, so to speak, on InvestPlus.
So InvestPlus REIT, really we focus on multifamily and commercial buildings, and we give an opportunity to investors who, want to get into the game, and we're just part of their overall portfolio, right? And so we developed something that allows for people where they don't have to qualify for a mortgage or get some financing or line of credit in order to invest. We've actually created something that allows people to get into those bigger buildings, bigger industrial buildings, even commercial across the country. So we're currently in BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. And we're a growing business. And so it's a great way to diversify some of that portfolio into other areas of your business. You might be in single family homes and you might decide, it's good to have a little bit of commercial or maybe multifamily. And that's the business that we've created over the last 15, 20 years almost.
Well, that's great. And actually, I want to really dig into various parts of multifamily and industrial today and really give the viewers value. One of the things I love about InvestPlus is that it would allow investors to, like you said, diversify their portfolio from essentially three different ways quite quickly. And I know I'm kind of like I feel like I'm selling InvestPlus right now, but I'm really passionate about this because people can essentially get into commercial and multifamily without qualifying for mortgages, which is awesome, and it can happen relatively fast. To go find a multifamily or go find an industrial building or go find a commercial building could take months, if not years. Whereas if you can instantly diversify by getting into InvestPlus. So that's really cool. The other thing too is you could diversify geographically. Like I'm in Ontario. I'm in Aurelia. I own real estate and I manage real estate in Aurelia, Peterborough, and Hamilton. And for me to get out west is not as easy as people might think so, but with InvestPlus, I can get out west like that. I can have exposure to BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan with essentially just writing a check. So anyways, really cool, Dom. I felt passionate about saying that. I don't know why, but
it's true. It's the ease of doing it, right? And for a lot of people, and I know there's going to be a lot of people at ACRE, it's their first time in a real estate conference, and it's going to feel like the first time I've been to ACRE, where you're drinking from a fire hose. There's a ton of information, learn how to buy, all strategies that from investors at all levels. And you're going to come back out of that, and one of two things are going to happen. Either you're going to hone in on one strategy and say, that's what I'm going to do, or you may not do anything at all, which is the worst case scenario. The beauty about what we're doing here is that even if you don't, you're not ready to move forward or you need more time, when I started, I had that exact same scenario where I had some funds. I knew it was going to take me some time. I just wanted to get into the market. That's what I wanted to do. So, you know what? I parked my funds with a company that was already doing that for me. I wrote a check. I did some due diligence on it, wrote a check. I still own that property today, and I'm really happy with it. But it got me into the game, and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't my entire portfolio of funds. It was just a portion of it, and that's why we created what we did with InvestPlus.
Now, Domenic, you've been a REIN member for how many years? How long's it been?
You know what? It's been 16 years now, right?
Wow.
So yeah, 16 years. And, you know, a lot of people ask me, why am I still a member? And, you know, a number of reasons. You know, you can never know everything. And there's more to real estate than just, you know, industrial, commercial, or multifamily. I mean, there's various things. And then, of course, there's all of the you know, strategies around buying real estate, and so the network is my number one reason why I continue, because of the people that are there. You know, if you have an issue or a problem, there's someone there. It's like your support group, right? I have this issue. Chances are there's about a 99% chance that someone's already had an issue like that. The other reason is the what's behind the curtain. I mean, the amount of drivers and things that, you know, REIN talks about in terms of where to buy. I can't be an expert across the country. And, you know, I could be an expert in the business that I'm in, but having someone do all the research for me and say, hey, look, here are the top 10 towns you should be looking at, and here are the reasons why. Well, what more do you need? Now, once you decide where you want to invest, you go, but you can go with some level of confidence because that information has been there. And many, many years ago, my first mentor always said, he says, you know, don't buy real estate in your backyard just because you can feel it and touch it. Buy where real estate is going up. And that's what REIN provides, is that all of those fundamentals that allows you to, you know, to buy real estate before that wave, right?
Yeah. Like we say, you know, I like to say that REIN brought research to real estate. You know, before REIN taught the long-term success real estate formula, before REIN started doing the research and publishing the research we do, I mean, it was literally a lot of speculation. People were taking chances on real estate, but REIN brought research to real estate. And as a result of that, what happens is people are now sophisticated investors. They're quality investors. It's a much safer game to play. You know, like, real estate is not risky. You can see stuff happening 18, 20, 24 months out. It's kind of like having a crystal ball in your hand. It's incredible if you know what you're looking for. Right.
And that's what it is, right? I mean, actually, I would say real estate is risky if you don't know what you're doing or where you're buying, right? I mean, and when you take those elements out of the equation in terms of having that knowledge, I spent thousands and thousands of dollars before I even discovered REIN. So, you know, it's been 15 years, 16 years I've been a REIN member. I bought real estate before that. And the information that I got were some simple strategies, and it got me into the game. But the moment I started to go, like, for instance, Acre, I kind of look around and going, this information is gold. I mean, whatever that cost is, if you're looking to move move yourself into a financial position where you're able to do whatever it is that you want to do, and it's through real estate, you have to be at this weekend. And by the way, we didn't rehearse this. I'm not getting paid for this. You know, honest to God, I remember, you know, a couple of my first REIN meetings where, you know, the what's behind the curtain was being shared. And they were talking about how Alberta was on this cusp of this huge economic wave increase. And this was 2003, 2004. And, like, I could not wait for that meeting to end, because I was like, I got to buy more. I got to get out there. And I look around and go, how are people not jumping up and down? And I know that's going on in different cities across the country, right? I mean, if someone's telling you where to buy, here are the reasons why, here's when it's approximately going to happen, then what's stopping you from moving forward? Right. So I don't know. I am at a different stage today than I was back then, but it's still, those are some of the elements, and then it's finally taken out.
And now you're giving back. Now you're speaking at REIN. You're giving back to the community. You're educating the new investors, whether new or experienced. I mean, listen, you know, one of the things I love about REIN is that I'm surrounded by not only new investors, but very experienced investors. You and I have conversations all the time, Domenic, about things that you're doing in your REIT and what I'm doing in my portfolio. and we have very different experiences, but I learn from you and you learn from me, and we share together. And it's the same with all the very experienced investors. I was on stage yesterday with Jared Hope, and I mean, he's done 400 deals that are different than my deals. So like I'm picking out and I'm learning and I'm trying, and that's what the REIN community is all about, is this safe place to grow together.
That's right. Absolutely. Hey, look, when I started 15 years ago, I probably had half a dozen of, single family homes, duplexes, triplexes. REIN helped me launch into multifamily. And we had over 420 rentals about 5-6 years later. And now we're starting into, and then of course we rolled everything into our REIT, which is our current trust, our real estate trust. And now we have not only multifamily, we're moving into commercial, and that's my intent at some point, is get enough commercial experience. We have about almost 100,000 square feet of commercial, but at some point, I want to bring that back to REIN. And, I might likely talk a little bit more of this at the Acre events as well, and share my experience with commercial, because I know there's a lot of people out there who want to learn about commercial as well.
Yeah. Now, Dom, before we get into multifamily and commercial real quick, and you and I, you know how it is, we can talk for days often. So we're going to have to at some point bring it in for a landing, but not quite yet. I've been having this conversation with experienced investors, and I want to pick your brain on this. And like he said, folks, this isn't rehearsed. I'm throwing them on the spot right now. I'm starting a new movement, Domenic, called the failure of YouTube, because even though the information age has given us the powers of YouTube and social media and everything else, which you guys know, as a sales and marketing guy, I'm the first one on board with social media. It can have an amazing impact on your business. But what I found, Domenic, is it's stopping people from moving into action. People end up sitting on the couch watching YouTube thinking that they're going to become an investor one day. And I call that the failure of YouTube. So what's been your experience with this, Domenic, in terms of people not coming out to events as much as they should, not going to meetings as much as they should, because they think they're getting this information from YouTube? What's your opinion of this?
Well, there is, they say, knowledge is power, but really it's knowledge with action is power. And, I think the problem is that there's too much information. You don't know what to decipher from all this information. I mean, there's focused information that allows you to do something, but then at some point you have to make a decision and say, you know what, I have enough for me to move forward. And by the way, you can't have all your ducks in a row. You can't have all that information that you think. How do you know that you have an information? You don't. And so you just need to know enough so that you can take the next step. And by the way, if you take that next step, you're going to make some errors. You're going to make some failures. But those failures, the accumulation of all those failures, is going to get you to where you want. Look, I've been to events where I thought, I'd rather do something else, or I'm not going to learn anything. Every single time I've gone and I push myself to go to an event, even in REIN sometimes, right? I've had some other appointments that I've had to put off. I've come back from a REIN meeting, and I'm always, every single time, I come back with something that I've learned, or better than when I came in. And that's what people are missing out on, right? You're not going to get that at YouTube or any other website. I mean, think about the time that you're learning that you're getting all that information. You probably have a number of questions. How are you going to ever answer those questions? Well, that's what being at the meeting does, is your ability to talk to. And you know what also that did for me, especially at the very beginning, when you're talking about people, just like we were talking at the beginning of this conversation. Wow, you had like 4 or 5 deals during the summer, and I had a couple of deals as well. Well, geez, that would spur me to say, look, I got to get moving, because these people are movers and shakers. They're doing something, right? So it also inspires you to move forward as well. And so the best feeling, the best thing that I love about these events is when that person bought their first house or their first building or whatever, right? And you can just see them glowing, and they're so excited about it, right? And I know what it takes to get at that step, but you have to move forward, and you have to find that moment where you just say, you know what, I have to move forward. And you've got the support. There's that support that doesn't exist with really many businesses that are out there.
And we talk, and when we talk about sort of failure of YouTube versus having a community. We're just talking offline about this sort of the information age is over, and a lot of people are still stuck in the information age, and they think they'll be successful by just getting more information. If it was just about information, everyone would be gazillionaires and be models and have six packs. If it was just about information.
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so what people are looking for is an experience, right? And we chatted a little bit about this, right? Is going into, if you're coming back from a meeting saying, I completely wasted my time, well then, I understand that. But I assure you that every single meeting, even after being a member for 15 years, I come back, different than when I came in, right? I feel motivated. I feel, I'm inspired. And it's about the relationships that you build. And, some of the rudimentary things that a lot of motivational speakers talk about is if you want to get better, what do? Hang out with people, with like-minded people, right? And all those people in that room are doing something. They're doing something to improve their lives. So if you're interested in that, then you need to be there.
Now, Domenic, let's talk about multifamily real quick, because a question about multifamily that people ask themselves is multifamily only for experienced investors? There's this kind of untold story where people think, okay, I'm going to start with single family and then I'll build myself up to a duplex and a threeplex and a fourplex, and you kind of go up, like your career goes with a number of units, where you then go to multifamily, which is 5 units or more. What's your opinion of this? Is that the way it is? Is that the truth? Can people start with multifamily? What's your opinion of this?
Well, look, we're talking about having all the information available to you and then getting stuck to taking the next action, right? And a lot of people are just fearing of failure. When you're going into multifamily, let me be clear, you don't have to be buying your single families and your condos and all that in order to get you to multifamily. However, because the amount of time, what you'll find is that due diligence that you find on houses, I will tell you, it's almost about the same level of due diligence to multi-million-dollar deals. They're fairly similar. In fact, when you get to we have some assets. We're about a $35 million company. We'll be about 45 by the end of the year, but we're small compared to some of the larger REITs. Well, the larger REITs can't be bothered with the smaller deals. Why? Because the bigger deals takes the same amount of time, the same amount of cost, and so on and so forth. So to go back to your question is that it comes down to risk tolerance. What are you willing to risk? Because the bigger that building, the bigger that deal, the more costs are associated with it. And if you're okay with going into that step or taking that step into multifamily, then good on you. Because I didn't have the experience, I didn't have REIN, I didn't have anyone to show me, here's how you buy a multifamily. I chose to start to buy single family homes and duplexes and triplexes. I bet that if I had started with REIN, I probably would have gotten there a little faster. In fact, I know I would have gotten there faster because I would have been surrounded by people who did it. So that's what ACRE does for you, right? So it provides you all of those tools and all the information that you need. The knowledge vault that comes with the membership, right? There's so much information there. And, if you wanted to buy multifamily, you can do that. It then just becomes, what's your risk tolerance? If it's your first piece of real estate you've ever bought before, you have no experience in real estate, because of the character that I am, I would recommend starting small, starting with 1, maybe 2 properties. And you don't have to there's no magic number. It's all dependent on you. I know investors who started in multifamily, first investment that they ever done was in multifamily, but they had some background in real estate in the past. So that's been my experience, and that's my opinion.
And so right now, and that's great. I appreciate that, Dom. Thank you. What is I know right now, Domenic and InvestPlus, you as a CEO of InvestPlus, you're very focused on industrial. Tell us a little bit about that. I know you're going to talk more about it at ACRE, but we have a few minutes left. Let's talk about industrial and why it's such a it could be such a powerful real estate class.
Well, look, a lot of people know us as multifamily owners, and we did that for about 10 years. And then we discovered that there's some other opportunities that we could take advantage of. Especially in the commercial space, right? So part of our deal when investors join us is we also pay out a distribution to investors. And in order for us to do that, we have to be buying assets and properties that have a cash flow element to it that allows us to do that. And that's what industrial does for us. Industrial and some other commercials like office, like retail, all that. But our main focus right now is industrial. And what's really driving that is two primary trends. One is the cannabis industry, and two is the e-commerce business, right? If you look at the cannabis industry that was legalized, cannabis was legalized a year ago. What you're seeing is a lot of those cannabis growers have accumulated acquired a lot of the industrial spaces. E-commerce business, about 12.5% of everything that was bought in the United States was bought online, and that number is set to double over the next 5 to 6 years. And so what's happening is you got a lot of these logistics centers are buying up all this industrial space. So to me, that is driving those vacancies down, is driving the rental market, the rental rates up, which is driving building values up. And that's the main reason why we're focused. We're not buying necessarily in the cannabis or the e-commerce business, but we're buying in industrial. We want to be in that game because the demand is there. And so that's what's been driving, not to mention that the returns are favorable as well. So that's the main reason why we're industrial.
That's awesome. So Domenic, let's end on this because, it was many moons ago, 15 years ago, give or take, that you went to your first acre. And there's people watching this right now that are thinking, should I take the time? The money is almost inconsequential. The tickets are so affordable to acre. It's not one of those high-priced run to the back of the room event. This is not an event where we're not selling real estate at these events. This is pure education. It's research. It's transformative education. Think back to the first time you went to acre, and there are people, like I said, that are watching this they've decided they're going, and that's great. Congratulations. There's other people that have decided, I'm not going, this isn't for me. That's great too. They're probably not watching this. But there are people that are on the fence right now, and I want you to talk to those people on the fence. People on the fence saying, should I spend a few $100? Should I take 2.5 days? Is this going to be worth my time? What do you say to them, Domenic?
Well, look, I went into a weekend real estate. It was actually a free event, and then in the end, it was all about selling another real estate package. I wrote a check for $5,000, and because I made a decision that this is where I wanted to go, and come hell or high water, I was gonna get into real estate. For the few $100 for a weekend is about 20 hours long of information, talking to experts. I'd be surprised that anybody with the amount of money that you spend for that weekend and the time that you spend in that weekend, you'd come back and say, I wasted my time. I'd be willing to bet you $1,000 that's not going to happen because, and at the end of the day, what's a few $100 for a weekend that can potentially change your entire life, right? I mean, like think about the magnitude of that. And if you're saying, I've had enough of I see people day in, day out, going to their jobs, working, and maybe even loving what they do. But, and then I talk about what's your retirement look like? I know you're only 35 or 40 years old, but what's your retirement looking like? And what are you doing to position yourself? You don't have to leave your job. In fact, I'm not recommending that at all, but you should have some real estate in your portfolio, and you need to learn at the very least, find out what's out there and be more, get the knowledge, but figure out and decide for yourself if this is for you, and a few $100 and one weekend in your entire life can potentially change everything that you know about real estate, about the world, about business. And this is not just about real estate, right, JG? I mean, this is about business. This is about life. I mean, there's so much to get out of this weekend. It's not just about buying real estate. There's a whole other world that people are not even aware of. So you have to be there at the very least. If you haven't been there before, you must get there. And if you have, you continue to go, because we're in an evolution. We're changing all the time. There's always new information out there, new people, new strategies, and you got to get out there.
No, 100%. You're totally right. Actually, in fact, we even offer a money-back guarantee. So if someone's not satisfied with their experience, by the end of the first day, they get their money back. So it's really a no-risk offer that we make to everybody.
So there's no reason. There's no reason. If you're watching this, there's no reason why you wouldn't. So find a babysitter, even if you have little kids. Look, you know what? We have kids.
You're a perfect example. I actually, you know what? We got to talk about this real quick, because I hear this all the time. Oh, I'm so busy, JG. I got a young child at home, and I got a job, and so on and so forth. Domenic, if you don't mind, give us an idea of Domenic Mandato and the Mandato family, because you've been very successful in real estate, and you got a lot going on. Let's just leave it at that. Tell us a little bit about that, so people know that what you've accomplished with what. Like, I mean, it wasn't easy for any of us.
Well, look, JG, at the end of the day, you know, I don't talk about my personal life a whole lot, but you know, people, we're getting a bit of a tangent here, but you know, I talk to people and say, "Oh, I'm so busy, and I got to drive kids to hockey. I've got to do this." At the end of the day, we're our own worst enemy, right? I mean, we make decisions to put our kids in hockey. We make decisions to put them in these events. We make decisions to have kids too, and maybe sometimes it's not a decision; it's an oops factor, whatever the case may be. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you know, we were blessed. My wife and I were blessed with 5 children, and I started real estate when we had our first, and I have a real supportive wife. You know, we're successful because of my wife and because of our kids, and so to me, you know, I can hear the people, you know, giving themselves excuses as to why they can't do something, all that. And at the end of the day, that's all it really is an excuse. You know, we all have our crosses to bear, and for some of us, they're bigger than others. But, you know, the idea of being busy because of your children and all that is that, you know, it's not because of the children. It's you made that choice. And so you can still have a business. You can still get into real estate, even if you're a single mom, even if you're a single dad. And I truly believe that. I'm fortunate that, you know, I love my wife, and you know, and we've been married for 23, 24 years. Been a long time. But I also believe I've seen it. I've seen single parents do really well in this network. You know, and there's some great stories, right, JG? You and I know them, and so there's no reason why. Those are all reasons that just hold you back. So take that out of the equation. Just come for the weekend and make a decision for yourself. Yeah. Those are just stories in your mind that have been holding you back. Just get out there and do it.
Domenic, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it. I'm super excited to be sharing the stage with you in Edmonton, September 27th through 29th at the Acre Real Estate Investor Summit. It's going to be an acre like none other before. We're bringing breakouts back. It's going to be a packed house. It's going to be awesome. So, Domenic, thank you so much, man. I look forward to being there with you.
Thanks, JG. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to seeing you there.
Have yourself a great day, bud.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye. Cheers.